I started this bread yesterday, and now all I have to do is score it and then bake it. And so this is going to be part of our breakfast this morning. Most days we keep breakfast pretty simple, and so for this particular day I'm doing some eggs and toast and some smoothies. So I'm getting my bread baking now while I work on the other things. A lot of my kids at this point are still sleeping, and so I think that I'll have it done just in time for everyone to be up and all the rest of the food to be finished. I told you guys in my last video that we had just gotten back from vacation, and my husband and my two little boys that were home did not drink very much milk, and so I made almost 2 gallons of yogurt. My Instant Pot does not quite hold 2 gallons. I did fill it up to the max line, and so the rest of this week we are going to be having smoothies with breakfast or as a snack or at some point throughout the day so that we can use up all this milk, because I don't like anything to go to waste. Typically for fruit smoothies, I just blend up any type of fruit that I have in my freezer. We always have a bag of frozen bananas and little slices of apples. Anytime that a toddler or my baby gets an apple, they might eat like a few bites and then they don't finish it. And instead of just like wasting it, I slice it up and put it in a bag in the freezer, and eventually it goes into a smoothie. And kind of the same with bananas. When we have too many bananas and they start getting overly ripe, we will freeze those, and they make the best fruit for a smoothie because it makes it extra creamy and pretty sweet if the bananas are really ripe. So for this smoothie, I just did fruit and my yogurt, and I gave that to my little boys that were up at this point while they were waiting for the eggs and toast. Most of the people in my family preferred fried eggs, and we like them over easy, but my babies, my 2 youngest, prefer scrambled eggs. I think it's just easier for them to eat. My husband likes his eggs with no yellow runny yolk, whereas I like my yolk runny, and my other kids like it runny. So anyway, I typically don't like cook things particular for individual members of my family, but with eggs I do, because you know it's kind of an individual thing that you eat. And so I get the pan going and basically burn them for my husband, and then undercook them for me and some of the boys, scramble them for others. But either way, this was our breakfast this morning. After every meal, I like to do the dishes, put things away, get the kitchen cleaned up, just so it doesn't pile up by the end of the day. As I finish cleaning up from this meal, I want to tell you guys about today's video sponsor, Blueland. You guys know that I love to make most of my own homemade cleaners around here, but I'm constantly getting asked about which cleaners people can purchase that are still safe, sustainable, and convenient. And I always go to Blueland. Blueland's products are effective, convenient, affordable, and sourced from clean ingredients. Blueland uses no single-use plastic in any component, and all refills are 100% plastic-free. Blueland is also EPA Safer Choice certified, which means EPA scientists have evaluated every ingredient in the product to make sure it meets Safer Choices stigma criteria. With Blueland, all you need to clean your house and your hands is a nickel-sized tablet. And when you buy the bottle, you use it forever, making it super easy to store and so much cheaper. All you have to do is fill your forever bottle with warm water, then add in your tablet, and once it completely dissolves, you can screw your nozzle back on and use it immediately. If you are ready to try Blueland, all you have to do is click on the link down in my description box below, and by using my link, you'll get 15% off your first order. All right, for this next breakfast, I am making a quiche. Quiche is something that I love to make. Everyone in my family likes it. I mean, it's still just eggs and sausage, but putting it into a little bit of a different form to switch things up a bit. Now, for this particular day, I am just doing onions and sausage and cheese. A quiche is kind of fun because you can make so many different variations, and really just kind of depending on what vegetables I have in my refrigerator or even in my freezer will determine what goes in my quiche. And on this day, I did not have any spinach or peppers or anything available, so I'm just doing onions and sausage. So now I'm going to work on my crust that I will put my filling into. For this crust, it's just flour, sugar, salt, butter, and water. And you can actually make this just straight in your pie pan, but because I was making a double batch, I put it in a big bowl and then I just separated it into my pie pans. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I try to make it pretty even, and then I just press it down into the pan. This is a very quick crust, and because of all the butter, it's very flaky and so delicious. And so, very simple way to make a crust for my quiche. I always get so many comments and questions about this ceramic mixing bowl. I actually have two of them, and people are always wanting the link, and I actually found these both secondhand at a thrift store, and so I do not have a link for you, unfortunately, but I always keep my eye open for bowls like this when I am at thrift stores or antique stores because I love cooking with them. They're so heavy duty and nice, and I love the way that they look. So for my filling, I did 8 eggs, a pound of pork sausage with a whole onion, and then I shredded up a block of cheese. The cheese that I used is the raw cheddar cheese that I got in my Azure Standard order. And I think this is about the last one. I don't know if you saw my Azure Standard haul that I did. We got so much cheese and it was really good. So if you guys are looking for a good raw cheese, I highly recommend the Azure Standard kind. It was delicious and I'm definitely going to be ordering more. At the beginning of this week, I made a couple of different types of bread. I had a sandwich loaf and also an artisan loaf of bread. And this is the leftovers that we had of it. And so I am going to be using this to make up a French toast. This is one of my kids' favorite meals. I make this all the time. And if you already have bread prepared, this can be a very quick meal to make. It's something that everybody likes. It's really filling and it's easy to make. One of my favorite things about French toast is that you can make it the night before and then put it in the refrigerator. And then in the morning, you just have to bake it. So this is a great make ahead meal. Yes, you can. So I am doing this recipe 1.5 times because that's how much bread I have. But if you were making one 9x13 pan, you would mix together 6 eggs, a cup and a half of whole milk, a half a cup of honey, and then a teaspoon of vanilla and a couple of teaspoons of cinnamon. You can see that I don't really measure this anymore. I've made this so many times that I'm pretty familiar with the consistency that it has to be. And then just pour it over the bread. And then I always smash it down to get the bread nice and soggy and soaking in the egg mixture, dot it with butter, and then top it with some cinnamon and sugar. Good job, buddy.
Well, but see, I got fall because I say sometimes Mommy, I need that
one. Then just bake it in a preheated oven at 375 degrees for about 35 minutes. Okay.
What's that?
While the French toast is baking, I'm just cleaning up again, trying to stay on top of it. I love to do the dishes and clean the countertops after each meal. It just makes it so much more manageable than having to do everything at the end of the day. There's been times in my life where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna save this and do it later. and dishes get crusty and harder to clean, and it gets pretty overwhelming to try to clean up after like several meals. So just spending a few minutes after each meal and getting the kitchen back in order is such a time saver for me. As you can see, everybody is very excited about trying this French toast casserole. I get a lot of questions about why I keep my bowls that I use all the time so high up, and the answer to that is toddlers. And so I try to keep everything glass or breakable up high, and all the things that the baby can get into down low, because typically while I'm cooking, he is right under my feet and getting into everything. He loves getting into all the towels and all the little like lids for the mason jars, and I just let him do that and clean it up later. Alright, so for this meal, I am making an oatmeal casserole. This is actually on a Saturday afternoon. My older kids are outside with my husband playing in the snow. We got a huge snow. I mean, for where we live, it was big, about 5 inches. And my little ones are napping, and tomorrow we have church in the morning. And since we've moved, our church is really far away from us because we stayed going to the same church after we moved, because that's where my husband's family goes. And so we didn't switch to a local church. And so Sunday mornings can be a little hectic trying to get 6 children ready and out the door. In fact, I've had people request a Sunday morning routine and showing us getting ready, and like I just kind of laughed. Like, there's zero chance I would even be able to think about getting the camera out and recording on a Sunday morning. But anyway, so lots of times on a Saturday, if I get a chance, I like to prepare breakfast beforehand so that in the morning it's super easy. So on this particular day, I am making a oatmeal casserole. It's like apple raisin oatmeal casserole. And then in the morning, all we'll have to do is bake it and eat. And so it'll make our morning a little more smooth. You see that I just put some lemon juice on my apples. That's because I am making this at a time, and this will keep the lemons from browning while it sits in the refrigerator overnight. I actually have this recipe and my French toast recipe on my blog, so I will link those for you down below. But for this, it's just 5 cups of oats, half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and then I add in a cup of honey, 2 cups of whole milk, half a cup of butter melted, teaspoon of vanilla, a couple of eggs, and then the apples and a handful of raisins. Now, I did not get a final clip of that because, like I said, Sunday mornings can be a little stressful, and I completely forgot about it on Sunday morning. But the kids enjoyed it, and it made the day much better having breakfast ready the night before. All right, so on this next meal here, I am making a ham and egg skillet. We have a bunch of ham steaks in my freezer, and so I thought I'd better start working our way through those. So that's the meat I'm going to use in the skillet. You could also use bacon or sausage, lots of different ways to do this. So I am going to get my ham sauteing in this pan. And then I'm going to add in some onions to that and make some hash browns and basically just serve this all together as a breakfast hash. I get a lot of questions about the dish spray that I'm using. For that, it's actually just Castile soap, water, and some lemon essential oil. I do have a recipe for that on my blog, arleyhouse.com, but that is it. I whip it up very quickly, even if I'm in the middle of doing dishes, and I like it in a spray bottle. It works really well and it lasts for a very long time. My biggest tip for making hash browns, shredded hash browns this way, is to cook them in a cast iron skillet. They cook very evenly and it gets them nice and crispy, but you want to make sure that your cast iron is nice and hot, and then add a good amount of oil or fat or whatever you're using to fry your potatoes in. And then you want to only have to flip these one time. So I put them down, add some salt and pepper, and then I just let them cook for, I don't know, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. And then I will flip them once and cook them about 3 or 5 minutes on the other side. And they're so crispy, they taste like restaurant style hash browns. In this bowl, I'm just whisking together some eggs and a little bit of milk and salt and pepper. And I'm just going to pour that right over top of my ham and add some salt and pepper, and then just cook that till it's finished. And this will be our breakfast. When the eggs were just about cooked through, I added some cheese on top to let that melt, and then this was ready to serve. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some great breakfast meal inspiration. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. I get out a new video every single week.